The air smelled of smoke and burnt metal. The ruins of the alien marketplace stretched as far as Captain Ryan Hale could see. His boots crunched on broken glass and shattered tiles as he moved slowly, scanning the area for anything useful. The war had left this colony in chaos, and supplies were scarce. He paused near a collapsed stall and noticed a small figure crouched behind the rubble. A girl, no older than 10, with large green eyes and pale skin that shimmered faintly under the dim sun. She clutched a small glowing cube tightly to her chest. Shaking with fear, Ryan lowered his weapon slightly, unsure if she was dangerous. The girl's thin voice broke the silence. "Please, help me," she whispered, barely audible over the wind. Curious, Ryan moved closer, trying not to scare her. He overheard her speaking to a merchant at the next stall. "I want to trade this for pain medicine," she said, holding out the cube. The merchant laughed, a cold, harsh sound that echoed in the empty streets. "For your kind? You have nothing to trade that matters," he sneered, stepping back, leaving the girl trembling. Ryan felt a sharp ache in his chest. Something about her voice, her small frame, and the way she held the cube reminded him of why he had joined the military in the first place, to protect life even in the darkest corners of space. The girl looked around desperately, then back at the merchant. "Please, my mother is sick," she said, tears running down her cheeks. "Just a few pills. That's all I need." Ryan's mind raced. He knew the medicine she needed was limited and heavily guarded. His orders were clear. Do not interfere with alien civilians. Stay on mission, avoid unnecessary risks. But something about this moment felt bigger than rules, bigger than orders. He stepped forward, clearing his throat. "How much for the medicine?" he asked, keeping his voice calm. The merchant's eyes narrowed. "For her, everything you have," he replied with a grin that made Ryan's stomach twist. Ryan hesitated. He looked at his own pack, counting the few credits he had left. They were hardly enough for a full ration, but he could not leave her here. Not when she begged with such innocence. The girl's small hands trembled as she held out the glowing cube. "This is all I have," she said softly. It's my favorite toy." Ryan knelt slightly, eyeing the cube. It pulsed with a soft blue light, as if alive. He felt a strange familiarity, though he could not explain why. "I'll take it," he said. Handing the merchant his credits, the merchant scoffed but accepted the payment and handed over a small vial of medicine. The girl's eyes lit up with hope. "Thank you," she whispered. Clutching the medicine to her chest, Ryan followed her cautiously as she ran through narrow alleyways. Ducking under fallen signs and broken wires, she led him to a small underground shelter. Hidden behind a pile of rubble, the air inside was cold and damp, and the smell of illness hit him immediately. Her mother lay on a thin mattress on the floor. Her skin pale and cracked, she looked up weakly, a faint smile forming as she saw her daughter. "You brought it?" she whispered, voice barely audible. The girl nodded, tears streaming down her face. "Hold on, Mama," she said, carefully pouring the medicine into a small cup and offering it to her mother. Ryan watched silently, his heart heavy. He realized that this was not just a sick alien, but a family broken by war. He felt an unfamiliar mix of anger and sorrow, anger at the cruelty of the world and sorrow for the innocence lost. He looked at the glowing cube again, now resting on the floor beside the girl. He noticed strange markings on it, symbols he recognized from old human archives, almost like a signature left by someone he had known long ago. "Where did you get this?" Ryan asked softly, crouching beside her. The girl looked up at him, hesitation in her eyes. "It was my father's, before he left," she whispered, her voice trembling. "He said it would keep me safe." Ryan felt a lump in his throat. He had served under that same man years ago, before the war. The thought that a part of his past had survived in this small glowing cube made his chest tighten. For a long moment he said nothing, just watched as the girl gently held her mother, whispering words of comfort he could not understand. Yet the emotion was clear. Love, fear, and hope all mixed into one fragile moment. The distant echo of a siren broke the silence, reminding him that danger was never far away. But for now, in this quiet underground shelter, he felt a purpose that orders and rules could never give him. He knew the path ahead would be difficult, that helping them might cost him everything. But looking at the girl's hopeful eyes and the fragile life of her mother, he made a silent promise. A choice without words, he would protect them, no matter the cost, and in that moment, the glowing cube pulsed brighter, as if acknowledging the decision, lighting the small shelter with a soft, Steady glow for Ryan Hale, the war, the rules, and the orders faded into the background, leaving only one truth. In the vast darkness of space, even a single act of humanity could shine brighter than any weapon, and the story of this small girl, her broken toy, and the human who chose hope over fear had just begun. The underground shelter smelled of damp stone and illness. The girl knelt beside her mother, carefully holding the tiny vial of medicine. Her hands shook, but her eyes shone with hope. Ryan stood quietly watching them, his mind racing. He knew this medicine was not enough to save her completely, but for now it could ease the pain. Maybe give them more time. The girl looked up at him, her green eyes wide. "Will it help?" she whispered, voice trembling. Ryan hesitated, then nodded. "It will help for now," he said, though he knew the truth. The infection was stronger than any pill they had. He felt a pang of guilt for knowing this, but he also felt a surge of responsibility. He glanced at the glowing cube on the floor, the toy she had offered to trade. It pulsed faintly, almost as if it sensed the weight of the choice he was about to make. Outside the shelter, the marketplace remained silent, smoke curling into the sky. The war had left everything in ruins, yet life, fragile and stubborn, fought to survive here. The girl poured the medicine into a small cup, her tiny hands trembling. She gave it to her mother slowly, whispering, "Drink, Mama, please." Her mother's lips moved weakly, forming a small smile. "Thank you, darling," she whispered and swallowed the medicine. Ryan knelt beside them, unsure of what to do next. The rules were clear. Do not help aliens beyond what is necessary. Avoid contact, complete mission, stay safe. Yet looking at them, those fragile lives, he felt something stronger than orders, a calling, a duty of humanity. He stepped closer, inspecting the toy once more. The strange markings caught his eye again, symbols familiar from his old training days, almost like a signature left by someone who once believed in hope. "Where did your father go?" Ryan asked softly, trying not to alarm the girl. He left before I was born," she said, her voice breaking. "He said he would return, but he never came." Ryan felt a sharp ache in his chest, memories of his old commander, the scientist who had trusted him years ago, flashed before his eyes. Could it be possible that this child was part of that plan, part of a dream to unite humans and aliens? He realized the cube was more than a toy. It might be a key, a link to something bigger than either of them, a remnant of hope. Suddenly, a faint sound reached his ears, a distant patrol moving through the ruins, their footsteps echoing faintly on the broken tiles. They could find them any moment. Ryan's heart raced. He had to decide. Stay and risk everything, or leave and follow orders. The girl watched him, her eyes searching, silent question in every glance. He knelt and whispered, "I'm not leaving you." The girl's eyes widened, hope and fear mixing together. You will help us?" she asked, disbelief in her voice. Ryan nodded. "Yes," he said firmly, "I will help you. No matter what it takes." He looked around the shelter, calculating his next move. They needed supplies, food, medicine, and safety. But the streets outside were dangerous. Soldiers patrolled, hunting for anyone who disobeyed orders. The girl's mother coughed weakly, a reminder of their fragile situation. Ryan placed a hand gently on her shoulder. "We'll find a way," he said, though even he didn't know how yet. The girl clutched the glowing cubette to her chest again. "It will protect us," she whispered, as if it shared her courage. Ryan realized then that this choice, helping them, was not just about saving lives. It was about reclaiming something lost in the war, a spark of humanity, a proof that even in the darkest times, one human could make a difference. He took a deep breath and stood. "We leave at night," he said, determination in his voice. "I'll get you both somewhere safe." "Far from here?" The girl nodded, trusting him completely, as if she knew he was the hope she had been waiting for. Outside, the wind howled through the ruins, carrying the scent of ash and dust. But inside the shelter, a small light glowed from the toy, steady and bright like a heartbeat. Ryan glanced at it one last time before preparing to move. He knew the path ahead would be dangerous. Every step could be their last. But for the first time in a long while, he felt alive, a part of something bigger than war, bigger than fear. He turned to the girl and her mother. "Stay close," he said. "Trust me." And with that, they prepared to leave the ruins behind, stepping into the night, the unknown stretching ahead, each heartbeat full of suspense and the promise of hope. The night was quiet, but the ruins whispered with shadows. Ryan led the girl and her mother through narrow streets, careful to avoid the patrolling soldiers. The moonlight reflected off broken metal and shattered glass, painting the city in silver and black. The girl clutched the glowing cube tightly, its soft light pulsing as if sensing the danger. Her mother leaned heavily on Ryan's arm. Weak but determined, trusting him completely. Finally, they reached a hidden corner of the city, an abandoned research lab from before the war. The walls were cracked, the doors barely hanging on their hinges. Yet inside, a sense of something familiar lingered, like a memory waiting to be remembered. The girl whispered, "I've never been here before, but it feels like home." Ryan's eyes widened as he looked around. The lab had once belonged to Dr. Elias Varon, a scientist and human strategist he had served under years ago, the same man whose research aimed to bring humans and aliens together in peace. His heart skipped a beat. Memories of old missions, secret experiments, and quiet lessons flooded back. He remembered Dr. Varon talking about a plan to help alien refugees survive after the First War, a plan that was destroyed when the evacuation failed, leaving only fragments behind. The girl's mother coughed softly, and Ryan noticed her trembling hands. He was human," she whispered. "My husband." He trusted humans even after the war. Ryan knelt beside her, connecting the pieces. "The toy, the cube, it's from him, isn't it?" She nodded, tears in her eyes. "He gave it to her before he left, said it would keep her safe, that one day someone would come to help." Ryan felt a lump in his throat. This small girl held the legacy of hope that humans had tried to leave behind. And here he was, the one chosen to continue it. He turned to the girl. "Your father. He believed humans could be better even in war, and you are the proof of that hope." The girl blinked, unsure how to respond. But her grip on the cube tightened as if it understood. A distant hum interrupted their quiet. Ryan's head snapped toward the sound. Soldiers were moving closer, scanning the ruins for any signs of life. He cursed under his breath, realizing the risk of staying too long. But he also knew something critical. The girl was more than just a child in need. She was a symbol, a bridge between worlds, and the cube in her hands might hold secrets powerful enough to change the balance of war. Ryan made a quick decision. "We can't stay here long. But I need to find something for you, for your mother," he said, scanning the abandoned lab for supplies. Among broken shelves and dusty crates, he found old medical kits, rations, and a few vials of medicine, enough to stabilize her mother temporarily. He handed them over, watching the relief spread across their faces. The girl looked up, curiosity and hope in her eyes. Why are you helping us?" Ryan hesitated, choosing his words carefully. "Because someone has to do what is right even when it's dangerous," he said. "Because hope is stronger than fear." Her mother smiled weakly, gratitude and relief shining through her pain. You remind me of him, the one who believed in peace," she whispered. "Perhaps hope isn't lost yet." Ryan felt a strange warmth in his chest, a rare moment of calm in the chaos of war. He realized that this was more than a mission now. It was a choice, a responsibility, a promise. Suddenly the cube pulsed brighter, a soft hum filling the room. Ryan leaned closer, noticing faint patterns moving across its surface, symbols of human and alien origin intertwined, like a message left just for them, the cube. "It's not just a toy," Ryan murmured, awe in his voice. "It's a map, a guide, something your father left behind for the right person to find." The girl stared at him, wonder and fear in her eyes. You mean it can help us survive?" Ryan nodded, determination setting in. "Yes, but only if we trust it and only if we move carefully." Outside, the wind howled through the ruins, carrying the distant echo of soldiers' boots. But inside the lab, a small light glowed from the cube, steady and bright, as if promising guidance and protection. Ryan took a deep breath, looking at the girl and her mother. "We will get through this together," he said, voice firm, confident yet gentle. "Your father believed in hope. Now it's our turn to prove it." And for the first time since the war began, hope felt real, tangible, pulsing with the soft blue light of a tiny cube, signaling a new beginning in a universe scarred by destruction. The wind moaned through the shattered streets, carrying the smell of smoke and metal. Ryan led the girl and her mother along narrow alleys. Careful to stay in shadows, soldiers patrolled the ruins, their boots echoing on broken tiles, scanning for anyone who dared to defy orders. The girl clutched the glowing cube tightly, its soft light pulsing in sync with her rapid heartbeat. She glanced up at Ryan, eyes wide. "Are they going to catch us?" she whispered, fear quivering in her voice. Ryan shook his head, determination in his eyes. Not if I can help it, he said firmly, keeping his voice calm, though his heart raced. He knew that helping them could cost him everything. His rank, his freedom, maybe even his life. As they moved through a half-collapsed building, a voice called out sharply, "Ryan Hale! Step out and surrender!" Ryan froze, recognition hitting him like a hammer. It was Lieutenant Mara, his old comrade, now leading the patrol, her face hard, eyes cold. "You're breaking every rule, Hale," she said. "Do you know what will happen if command finds out?" Ryan's jaw tightened, but he refused to back down. "I know," he said, voice steady, "and I don't care, Mara." Not this time. Mara's eyes softened for a moment, conflicted between duty and the humanity she saw in him. "You're making a mistake," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "You know what they'll do if they catch you helping them?" Ryan looked at the girl, at her mother, their lives fragile, hope resting in his hands. He realized this was more than a rule or a mission. It was about life, about proving that humans could rise above war. Above fear, he stepped forward, holding out his hand slightly. "They are innocent," he said. "They deserve a chance." "Just like we all do," Mara hesitated. Torn between orders and conscience, then, without warning, Ryan grabbed the girl's hand and ran, the mother following close behind. They darted through the rubble, twisting and turning, soldiers shouting behind them. Bullets ricocheted off walls, sparks flying. Ryan ducked, pulling the girl close. "Stay low," he shouted, diving into a collapsed building. The glowing cube in her hands reacted, a pulse of bright blue light filling the room. Ryan realized something incredible. The cube was not just a toy. It was a beacon, a device designed to guide and protect, left by her father to help the right person at the right time. He pressed a button hidden under its surface, and a holographic map appeared, projecting paths through the ruins, safe corridors that avoided patrols and points of refuge. This will get us out," Ryan said, awe in his voice. "Your father left us a way forward." The girl's eyes widened, hope shining through fear. He really wanted someone to help us," she whispered. Ryan nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. "Yes, and now it's our turn to keep his promise." They moved swiftly, the mother leaning on Ryan, the girl following closely, cube glowing softly like a heartbeat, leading them toward safety. Suddenly, the soldiers caught up, Mara stepping in front, gun raised. "Stop, Ryan," she yelled. "I can't let you escape with them." Ryan's mind raced, choices flashing before him. He could surrender and risk everything, or create a diversion to save them. There was only one way, one impossible choice. He grabbed a piece of debris, set it on fire, sending sparks and smoke curling through the corridor. Soldiers shouted, confusion spreading, and Ryan yelled, "Run, now!" The girl and her mother darted through the smoke-filled path. Guided by the cube, Ryan stayed behind, drawing attention away, firing carefully to keep the patrol focused on him. The cube's light pulsed brighter, almost as if urging them forward, and then, for a fleeting moment, Ryan saw the faint outline of the holographic message left by her father. "Hope is stronger than fear. Protect it." Ryan's heart clenched, realizing the magnitude of the moment. He was risking everything, but in doing so, he was fulfilling a promise older than the war itself, a promise of humanity, hope, and courage. As the girl and her mother disappeared into the shadows, Ryan took a deep breath, raising his weapon, ready to face the soldiers, knowing that sometimes the impossible choice was the only one worth making. And in the quiet of the ruined city, the soft blue glow of the cube pulsed steadily, a beacon of hope, proof that even one human could make a difference in a universe filled with chaos. The ruins of the colony stretched into darkness, broken towers and shattered streets whispering tales of the war. Ryan watched from the shadows as the girl and her mother disappeared into the safe corridors illuminated by the cube's gentle glow. His heart pounded with fear and hope. He knew his choice had put him in danger. Every step forward risked capture. Every moment could be his last, yet he had no regrets. For the first time since the war began, he felt truly alive, part of something greater than himself. The soldiers' shouts echoed through the streets, closing in fast. Ryan gritted his teeth, thinking of the girl's small hands clutching the cube, the mother's fragile smile, and the promise of hope their lives represented. He raised the cube high, letting its bright light flare across the ruins. Drawing the soldiers' attention, it was a small act, but enough to give the girl and her mother precious seconds to escape. Gunfire echoed, metal clanged, and debris fell around him. But Ryan pressed on, moving with precision, calculated risk, and courage born from love for life. He was no longer just a soldier following orders. He was a protector of hope, a human rising above fear. Suddenly the cube pulsed violently, projecting a holographic message into the night sky. The image of Dr. Elias Varon appeared, his face calm, almost fatherly. "If you are seeing this, it means hope still lives," the hologram said. "One human can make a difference. Never forget it." Ryan felt a lump in his throat, the words cutting through the chaos. He realized the cube had been more than a toy, more than a beacon. It was a legacy, a message left for those who had the courage to choose humanity over fear. The soldiers approached, but Ryan did not falter. He drew their attention, creating diversions, firing strategically, and using every ounce of skill and experience he had. Each movement a calculated risk, each second a precious gift for the girl and her mother. From a distance he saw them emerge from the shadows, running toward a safe zone marked on the holographic map. The cube pulsed steadily in the girl's hands as if thanking him, as if promising that the future was still possible. Ryan smiled faintly, a mix of relief and sorrow in his eyes. He knew he might not make it out alive, but he also knew his choice was worth every risk. Every human life, every act of courage mattered. And in that moment he embodied the very essence of HFY. Humans are awesome, not just in strength but in heart, in hope, in sacrifice. As the soldiers closed in, Ryan activated the cube one last time, sending a signal to distant allies. The light flared brilliantly, blinding, confusing, and drawing them away from the path of the girl and her mother. In the quiet aftermath, the girl stopped. Looking back, "Ryan," she whispered, fear in her voice. He raised a hand, his voice calm, steady. "Go. Live. Hope." The cube's light pulsed, steady and bright, and then it dimmed slowly, leaving only the stars above to witness the silent sacrifice. Days later, the girl and her mother arrived at a hidden sanctuary, the holographic map guiding them safely. The girl held the cube close, now dim but intact, a reminder of the human who had risked everything for them. She looked up at the sky, whispering softly, "He broke the rules, but he gave us our lives," and in the distance, faintly, the sound of human ships returning, allies responding to the beacon, proving that hope, courage, and humanity could overcome even the darkest night. The colony, once broken, now held a spark of life, a legacy of one human who had chosen hope over fear, sacrifice over safety, and love over indifference. And somewhere in the ruins, under the fading light of a war-torn sky, Ryan Hale's courage became legend, a story whispered across planets, a testament that even in the void of space, one human could shine brighter than any weapon. The girl looked at the glowing cube one last time, smiling. "We will carry your hope forward," she whispered. And with that, she and her mother stepped into the new dawn, the promise of a brighter future pulsing with every heartbeat.